We had an interview with her, and she has an awesome testimony and awesome story to share. So, who was once a human trafficking victim, but she now lives as a survivor, an author, a business owner, and advocates towards human trafficking. She's a woman in her own right, is truly unbreakable. Please help me introduce to you Katherine Symthe.
I first of all want to thank every one of you for being here today. I truly did not believe that in my lifetime that I would see the next generation, which is you guys, take a stand against human trafficking. Who am I? Well, let me tell you a story about me. At 6 months of age, I was bought from Romania because the mother that ran this human trafficking family had killed a child named Rory Elizabeth Catherine Hammond. She panicked and bought a child from Romania, and I was sold back into San Antonio, Texas, and then resold into Riverside, California. I was given the name of Rory Elizabeth Catherine Hammond, and for 17 years, I was sold 7 days a week. I didn't even know the sun existed until I was 7 years old. She locked me in a closet for the first 7 years of my life. And because of that, my cornea didn't develop correctly, and that's why I am sensitive to the light, and that's why I wear tinted glasses. At 3 years of age, I tried to run away from this family, and they cracked my head open, and I have aphasia. Aphasia is where your brain thinks faster than you can speak. They've broken my back, took me to a medical facility, had my back repaired for $200,000, and I became an instant newer commodity. I can now be sold for $1,000 because look, this child got beaten, her back broken, and now we can sell her even more. I was locked in the dog kennels, in urine, feces, clothes. I didn't know what love was. What I did know was that I was buried alive for 20 times. They would put a 6-foot hole, and men and women would pay $500 to see this happen. 6 feet I was buried, and they put a straw up and waited till I suffocated, and then brought me back to life and said, see, I do love you. These are just some of the things that the victims of human trafficking go through. Things that you may not understand, but this is the reality that people deal with as victims of human trafficking. In my time, I've seen over 100 children sold and over 60 children killed because this is what they paid to see happen. In the world of human traffickers, children are not children. They are a renewable commodity. They are something that is worse than a dog. When I asked them why they did what they did to me, they said you are nothing more than a well-bred dog. They said they couldn't break me, and they tried to break me. Now, the next story I'm about to share with you is a little graphic, but I want you to bear in mind, this is what I saw, and this is what victims of human trafficking go through. Some people say, why didn't you go somewhere and tell them what was happening to you? When I was 8 years old, there was a girl that was in the family. Her name was Sarah. And as you know, there's the little dandelion that we all wish on and go, oh, we used to blow on the dandelion, hoping that somebody would catch the seeds of hope. But that never happened. On August 1980, I wrote a letter to Santa Claus asking him, as a Christmas present, please take Sarah away and rescue her. Well, being 8 years old, I didn't know that when you sent a letter out to Santa Claus, it would come back to the same house. And the woman that ran the family found the letter, broke my back. On December 25th, 1980, she gave me that answer. She said, here's the answer from Santa Claus. And it was a red satchel, and inside of it was her decapitated head. And she says, you are to never tell anyone what has happened to you, or we'll do the same thing to you. We used to have what we call buy-ins. Men and women that would come in, pay $300, and then they pay additional money for these children to be tortured and sold. This is a reality that is nothing like yours. You know, people have asked me, as a survivor, how has it affected my life? It has affected my life on great levels. Because from the ages of 17 to 39, I didn't want nothing to do with my past. I was ashamed. And the time period that I grew up in, people used to make fun of me. Oh, you're that strange little kid and you don't know how to socially interact. They didn't know what I went through. It's been difficult, and I've had a great team. And only when I was 40 did I start writing my book, Unbreakable. And then I formed a company this year called Healing Survivors, Creating Thrivers, to which I am honored that my team is here today. Stormy Martinez, Enrique Martinez, Jox, Brenda, Patrice. These people are what the definition of heroes. We've had people in our community that have taken a stand with us. Morgan Stout, Chris Garza, Justin Boucher, Gina Cole. These people are just legendary in their own fact because they're daring to take a stand in a city that does not understand that the human trafficking trade is right here in the city. We are in the smack middle of the slave trade. West, north, south, and east. May I have you as a volunteer? This person right here, because she's young and beautiful, is worth $300. Because of the way she looks, she'd be sent to the Baja Court. This young lady right here, because she looks like a model, is worth $700. She'd be sold to Miami, Florida. That's the East Coast. You, because you have the little kid look, you can send them north, worth $600. What is the value of your children? Kids. You only be worth about $400, but you can be safe, tied up, every day and night. Your night is drugs. This is where they trained me. They tried to have me take over the family, and I refused. Because of that, I was tortured even more. How did I get rescued? One of the human traffickers had a guilty conscience and told the police. So they came and did a raid on my family. But because the woman that ran the family was a teacher in the community, they were horrified. How could a teacher that is supposed to protect our children could do this to people? So they told me, well, we're going to rescue you, press misdemeanor child abuse charges against her, and join the military. That's the only thing we can do for you. So I did. I joined the military. I was a biological chemical warfare specialist in the United States Army during the first Gulf War. Now, in regards to my name, 2 years ago, I had my name legally changed to Katherine Svoi Symthe. Svoi is Romanian. That means change, a catalyst for change. Symthe is the Romanian version of Smith. My name is in honor of my heritage. People often ask me, what are the goals as a survivor? I'm not just a survivor, I'm a thriver. Healing Survivors, Creating Thrivers is about showing that you're not only a victim, but you're a survivor, and from there you can go out and own your own businesses. You can make an impact. What advice do I have to give to the public? Let me tell you, the first thing we need to do is thank the SAPD, San Antonio Police Department, and the City Council for the hard work that they're doing out there. And I promise you that they are doing as hard as they can. They're up against some obstacles. There's legislation about how to prosecute children, which shouldn't be prosecuted. But we need new legislation where the buyers of human trafficking have their homes taken away. It's a felony, not just a slap on the hand. The children need to be given safe harbor laws so that they can find freedom. Now, once you take them away from your home, once you take them away from human trafficking, it's not enough to just say, oh, you're free. I had to learn how to socially interact. Stormy will tell you, I still thought that the way you match clothes is you look at the seams on your pants based on your clothes. But I was afraid to ask people because they would make fun, they wouldn't understand. But they helped me because I didn't have a baseline for normalcy. They taught me. There are people I've called at 1 o'clock in the morning going, oh my God, what do you wear to a pool party? These are things that you all grew up knowing, but I didn't know that. All I knew was being beaten, being tortured, wondering where my hero was, but it never came. What we need to do is take a stand as you have done. You guys are the next generation, and only through you can we take a stand. I had a friend call me from Geekdom, and he said that people didn't believe him that human trafficking occurred here in San Antonio. So he told everybody in the office, come here, look out the window. There you guys are, walking down the street. He's like, told ya. It is through your efforts, through the San Antonio PD's efforts, that we can take a stand today against human trafficking. But it's not just about awareness and education. We have to stand as a unified city. This city is San Antonio, rich in our history. We should not be number one in the nation for human trafficking. We should be number one in the nation for being pioneers to stop human trafficking. What can we do to prevent human trafficking? Legislation. Work with your councilwomen and men. Work with your SAPD. Don't be afraid that when you see something weird or something odd or a child screaming because you think they're being sold, call the police. Because I promise you one thing, if you don't make that call and you don't step in, then you're no greater than the human trafficker because you allowed it to happen by not taking a stand. And I understand that people are afraid, but the only way to get rid of fear is great action. And today, this is great action. Today, we take a stand and say, we take back San Antonio. Say no to the human traffickers. I can't hear you and I'm deaf. Louder! That's what I'm talking about. Only through you and through us, as a united community, can we take this city back and get it back to our protectors, San Antonio PD, to the city council. Only as a unified city. Doesn't matter if you're a nonprofit. Doesn't matter if you're a business. We have to take a stand. And that's why we're here today. And I thank you for that. Now we open up for questions for the next 5 minutes. Do not feel afraid or uncomfortable to ask me any questions. And for the first time ever, I will answer them completely. Please ask me any questions. Yes, ma'am. I don't have any siblings, not that we know of. We can't track the records into Romania back in '72. Back then, the family was involved in the military as well. They did a very good job of covering the tracks. We had a private detective try to go into Romania, but all my records are gone. That's what human traffickers do. They give false birth certificates. They give false IDs. Sometimes they promise these children, hey, you'll have a better home life with us. And they think they're coming to the United States for a restaurant job and they're being sold. And they think that, oh, well, mama says I can't go out at 1 o'clock in the morning, but if I go with this guy, I can stay out to 3. Yeah, with a chain and collar around your neck. Any other questions? I'm opening up. This is a great opportunity.
First of all, I want to say thank you for serving us. Whatever period you say. And then the second question I'm asking, or my question is, in terms of your personal, you say so, the meaning, the
when I was sold for sex. It was sold for acts of bestiality. I was sold for acts of cannibalism. I was sold for BDSM. The more painful, the more perverted, the more money I was able to bring in to the human traffickers. In the 14 to 17 years that I was with them, they made over $3 million off of me. As far as labor, no, but then again, labor and sex tend to go hand in hand. But labor is defined in human trafficking is immigrants coming over, or people here that don't have a job and they're working free and they're being enslaved. But every imaginable horror I had, I remember that they used to tie me up and put a collar on me, and they would pay $500 to see water put into my feet and sitting down there on the couch. And they would put chains and put electrocution, and they would electrocute me. And after that, they would pull my teeth out and then put alcohol into my mouth to see how much pain I could endure. And oftentimes I was sold for gang rapes, both men and women. When they broke my back, Stormy will tell you that my back is literally in shattered pieces, but they performed surgery and sold me at a higher value. And people ask, well, what's it like to be a survivor? It's very hard to tell our story because we feel shame. But the shame should never be on us. It should be the shame on the human traffickers. I had a radio station ask me, so does your significant other know about your past and what's it like to sleep with you? First of all, that's inappropriate to ask any victim. We have a hard enough time finding our own self-value. And then you're asking us about sexual performance when we've already been sold for that. There's a way to approach victims, and I get it. You want to know questions, but understand where they're coming from as well. Imagine walking in their shoes, not having clothes, not having the ability to make friends, and being sold at 7 years of age. You should be worried about Barbie dolls at 7 years of age, not whether or not you're to be sold. Is there any other questions? Yes, sir.
Everyday work in school setting, what are indicators of someone around us that may be in trafficking?
The question was what to look for in a school setting and what kind of people buy children. It's anybody. It's not your, the homeless guy. And no. These people work 9 to 5 jobs or the night shift. They're just everyday people like you and me. They go to work. They can be the most upstanding citizens of our community. And then at night they do things behind closed doors. Most of the time, children are secluded. They may stay to themselves. It might even be that child that you made fun of in school, like, oh, he's a nerd, or he doesn't know how to dress. But you never know their story. So learn about them, get to know them. You know, are they being a nerd because they're a nerd, or they're trying to hide? I was a nerd in school. Kids used to bully me all the time, break my glasses, make fun of me. But they didn't know that I was protecting them because I didn't want them to be killed like Sarah was. You had a question.
What are some tangible things that we can do to bring awareness and support cause?
What can be done to bring awareness? What you're doing today was one of the most powerful things you've done. The city of San Antonio has never seen a walk like yours. Talking to your friends, showing them, because people don't understand that it's happening here on American soil, let alone San Antonio. Starbucks and books and Barnes & Noble won't let me do a book tour there because they say, oh, that doesn't happen here in San Antonio. But they'll have 50 Shades of Grey on their shelf. Bring awareness. Talk to your friends on Facebook. Continue doing these events. Today, I'm proud. If my sister was here, she would have loved you. Because each one of you caught a dandelion seed today to bring hope, to bring a change. It's more than just awareness and action. Work with your city councilman. Ask your policeman what you can do. Volunteer, help. But do not risk your life in the sense of, oh, you see somebody being trafficked and you're going to go chasing them down. You're crazy. I'm just going to flat out tell you. You do not have the skill set to go after them. Report them to the police. That's the best thing you can do. You know what? I'm glad you asked that question. I accepted God a long time ago when I was a child because the woman that ran the family, she was also a Satanist. And so she got me the Holy Bible and said, I want to see whose God is stronger, mine or yours. I didn't know what this book was. I learned to read when I was 7 or 8. It turned out to be the Holy Bible. There's times that I was buried alive. I did cross over and I did see the white light. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for God and faith. And I tell you what, I am glad that I'm alive today because each one of you, that's why I was crying when you guys were doing that circle, because I felt the Spirit of God and Yahweh here. You, when 2 or more are gathered in His name, can we make a change? And I'm glad that he has touched every one of your hearts. So am I saved? Yes. I am a woman of faith. And Kike will tell you, our mentor and spiritualist and priest here in our company, that I have seen things, and yeah, it's easy to be evil, but I didn't want to be evil, because then I would have become like the human traffickers. There is a greater power, and that's God. God saved me to tell this story. And I made a promise to those children and my sister that should I be the one chosen to live, it's because of God's will. And I will live to tell you their story. And I promise you, with my last dying breath, that I will make an impact, and together we will change San Antonio and the legislation and rescue these children and give them the resources. Are there any other questions? So I want you to all look around you. These are your friends, your allies, your buddies. You are the children of God, making a difference in a world of evil. Now it's time to take action. Draw a line in the sand, take a stand, and say, no more to human trafficking. Thank you, Katherine.